Hello and welcome to my art journey. This is my third drawing. I'm making a banner for my YouTube channel. Starting off, I have the recommended size for a YouTube banner. I'm gridding it off and separating it into 3 different sections. My plan is to write Baron's art journey in each one of these sections, going at an angle. I started off with going upwards, but realized that I would most naturally follow a downward motion. My plan is that each one of these sections will represent a different step in creating a drawing. The first step I'm doing right now, and that is using a pencil to outline the general area that I would like each of the letters to be. I'm trying to get them as close to the diagonal line as much as I can so it's a nice natural slope. Journey had a lot of letters, so it was tough to try to get each one of them to line up nicely with the previous letter on this diagonal line. Now I had the letters in Journey close to where I wanted them to be, but I felt there was a lot of space above the J, and the rest of the letters could just be a little tweaked to fit the line better, like the E and the Y, so I just end up grabbing each letter and adjusting it as I needed. Now here's where I ran into a bit of a problem. My pen lost its pen pressure, and I don't know how, because it worked on the previous drawing I did of the portrait. So it was just the one consistent size, no matter what it is. Here I'm trying different pen pressures, and none of them is changing. But as soon as I change to this other option, this WinTab tablet, I can get the pen pressure back. There's a problem with that one, though, is that it doesn't put the line you draw directly on the pen tip. It's actually like an inch or two away. Now right here is where I demonstrate the difference between the pen tip and where I'm actually drawing. You'll notice the first stop is where the pen is drawing, and then I move it down to where my pen actually was, and I did that a second time so you can see the difference I was working with during this whole drawing. Now it is a bit of a challenge to work at this distance because I'm not used to it, but I think it turned out pretty okay. I was just going to do a simple outline of each letter, but with the pen distance, I couldn't get very nice equal lines on both sides of the letter, so I ended up deciding to do thin on one side, thick on the other, like an angled effect of a thicker letter. The Baron's section was the first step, being the sketch, while the art and journey will be the next step, being the line art. I'm making the letters as perfect as I can on the first pass, and then I will come back later and touch them up. This drawing took an hour and 24 minutes. A good 20 minutes of that was just trying to fix the pen. I tried to match the J best I could to the sketch earlier, and it kept looking small or odd angled, so I redrew it entirely on this line art layer, and it looks much better. I wanted the J to be big in the corner and just pronounced, so it's the first thing you see is this big J. Around here, my hand started to hurt and get real warm, and I started to get a little bit annoyed at the constant lettering I was doing. Now I feel the letters didn't come out as well as I wanted them to. I felt this was mostly due to the pen, but it could be that I didn't have an initial idea when I first got into this. I didn't have angles or lighting or shapes. I could have used sample or default letters, but I felt drawing them would be better. In these last few letters, I just took what looked good enough, knowing I would go back and refix them up. If you have any ideas on how to make this lettering look a bit better, or even know how to fix the pen, please let me know. Now here I'm about to go back and touch up all the letters, and I thought it would be better and easier to use the precision pen drawing. But it still wasn't working, so I had to still use the distance pen. I tried a few different ways to get this end to look pretty perfect. I didn't know if I wanted like the bottoms to be flat, to be pointed. I ended up with the top and bottom both being pointed or sharp. Once I had the plan of all the letters having the thicker lines on the right side, thinner on the left, it was easy to get the plan down. It just was more tedious to fix up all the lines that I didn't get perfect the first time. I do enjoy the 3D lettering effect. I think it really added to this drawing a lot more than a 2D line art letters would. Now this letter process is tedious, but I'm leaving it in the video because this is about the process of the artistic journey, not just the end result. It does help too, because with all my mistakes in the video, I can get some help to learn and grow for the next video. I do cut out pauses where I step away or stop drawing for a moment, as well as anything where I'm in the menus and there's no actual drawing going on right now. I'm just trying to get to the actual tool, function, whatever I need to draw. That's why me trying to fix the pen earlier seems short, but it was very long. I left in the beginning and end parts of it so you can see that I was working on it, that there was a sort of a problem, but it took a while till I decided that I couldn't fix it and I was just going to draw. As I edit these videos, I end up seeing things in the drawing, like when I make a good line or a race to get a perfect line, I think to myself, hey, that's a pretty good line. And then the past Baron also agreed, because then they move on. This U is a good example where the left side, I ended up watching it and realizing that's a really nice looking line. And then just as I did that, I stopped erasing the line and moved on to the other side of the U. I want to keep these small little touch-ups and fixes in the video, but I wish I could speed them up more than I have. I'm using Pinnacle Studios Ultimate 24, and it only lets you speed up 5 times as much. I wish I could do like 8 or more, just to get through these small little sections where you can see what I'm doing, but you don't have to watch every little erase and line fix. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing to erase the like little translucent lines, like pixels that are around lines. If you erase them to make a nice sharp clean line, or if it looks better to leave a little bit of those grayish pixels to make the line look. Does it make it look worse if you get rid of those? Because I don't know if it would make it sharper to get rid of them or sharper to keep them in. Now, as I uploaded this banner to YouTube, I noticed that it said, depending on the device that you use, certain parts of it will be cropped in a way. So if you're on a mobile device or anything that's not a TV, most of it gets cut. You still get the rough idea towards the end of it, but I feel I'm gonna have to make a new one or adjust it in some way where no matter what gets cropped, it still looks enjoyable. Right now we are moving on to the third step of an art drawing, which is color. I'm starting by removing the sketch layer, which in this case will just be covering it with a white background because I still want to keep the translucent background for the Barons section. Ahead of time I took a screenshot of the whole banner area. I wanted the look of a transparent grid background, but I couldn't save this artwork to have that. Every time I would, it would come out as white or black, so I had to add my own grid in using a screenshot. The first section is a sketch on a translucent grid. The second section is line art on a white background. The third section will be color. I have it on a gray background, trying to imitate the gray of the art program. From the beginning, I wanted Journey to have the 7 colors of the rainbow because there were 7 letters in Journey. Now that was the original plan, but then I felt that there wasn't enough color to really make this the color section, so I decided to try my hand at a gradient in the background, a rainbow gradient. So I'm sectioning off a square here just so I can edit this small gray section, but you see it didn't work too well. I noticed there were 2 reds in this gradient and I wanted to fix that. I ended up making it a lot worse, so I had to go directly into the settings to try to fix it. I spent some time making sure each color has an equal section. I also noticed light blue is in the rainbow gradient, so I decided to exchange indigo for it. I wanted to have each letter have a more unique color. I quickly make each letter match the color in the background. To follow along with me on this journey, hit the subscribe button. Also, leave a comment telling me anything you liked, as well as any tips or helpful thoughts for me.